Hello everybody and welcome back to the Kingdom Hearts HD Dream Drop Distance playthrough. It is the penultimate part of the story of KHHD DDD, and this is sort of the final area that we got to explore. It can take us a little while to fully get through it because, I mean, it does this whole moving thing which is kind of interesting. It's quite fun, it's quite quirky. It's a bit difficult to tell exactly what's on top of which things, but it is really quite easy to make sure that you do pick up everything as you explore. Because unlike the previous area, which was obviously quite wide open and so difficult to spot everything, this area is pretty much a straight line. There's just the odd bits of kind of divergence as you go, so it's not too bad to explore. Do have some fights along the way here, but nothing too horrendous. Just the one thing that I do need to make sure that I do as I go along here is to pick up every single treasure chest, because there are a few that are maybe a little bit not in the major sight line that I do want to obviously make sure that I pick up, but it'll all be alright. But I have to say, I am quite excited for this part because it's a really awesome sequence. It's one of those bits which I think is quite divisive amongst KH fans because it does introduce a whole bunch of elements that I don't think we were quite expecting. Like, I mean, obviously we've already had the whole thing about time travel, which I think most people who like Kingdom Hearts sort of just went, I'm sorry, what? It's like there's a limit that you can go to with the crazy in Kingdom Hearts, and time travel was not I think something that people were expecting the series to go down. So when it did decide to go time traveling, I think everyone just went a bit like, I'm sorry, could you just rerun that by me a little bit, because I'm a little bit lost. To be honest, I think I was sort of okay with it when it first turned up. I think as I reached sort of the end of this story, in my head it was very much just like, oh my god, oh my god, just all the plot twists one after the other. I was just sort of, I was in for the ride and I was loving it. For better or for worse. And so I don't think I necessarily paid that much attention as to whether it fully made sense or not. And I mean, that's fine. It's nothing too ridiculous. But yeah, there are a few big things that are going to turn up as we progress through this. Also, I can't believe that, you know, I set myself up with me deck and I was like, yeah, this is great, and I was just like, oh yeah, I kind of need to drop me nuts. And also, I'm running really low on drop me nuts. Thank God this is like the last time that I will actually need to use them. Because this is the last kind of proper exploration-y part that we're gonna get to go through. After this, we are full-on endgame territory, which is honestly really exciting. The endgame of most games are really quite epic and fun, and I am always down for a good old endgame. And, that looks odd. I've definitely missed a chest right towards the beginning, haven't I? I mean, to be fair, I could have missed those other 3 chests along the way as well. It's an area that, while pretty straightforward, is quite easy to accidentally miss things. So this was very much a moment of just going, right, do I need to run back? Where am I going? Have to say though, 75% of the spirits collected that's fine by me. Although this was a moment of me going, why aren't the ones that are both I've got the spirit and the nightmare of complete? It's because I haven't fought the rare nightmare version of them. That's why those haven't classified as complete yet. Obviously the ones where I'm missing a spirit, those aren't complete yet, but for the rest of them it's where I have got the spirit and the nightmare. It's because I've not got the rare nightmare. That's why. It's a pain, but oh well. So yes, before I progress any further, we are going to pick up this chest, which I had just, you know, strolled on past like a muppet. But I do believe that that is the only one left that I needed to pick up that's not along the way going forward. So we should be okay. If not, you know, I'll just be, you know, running back all the way to the start and then all the way to the end again. Also, isn't it fun? We have buildings being flung at us. And what this reminds me of... I mean, obviously it was in the original Kingdom Hearts 2, but that said, my brain now really does just resort to my brain going to the moon from Bayonetta, because of course it does, because obviously one of my favourite games of all time, so of course my brain's going to go there of all places. Yeah, we do have some fights along here, all sorts of green meters actually. I feel like there might be a bit more variety here than we had with Riku. I could be, of course, entirely wrong on that, but it feels like there's a slightly bigger variety. And I think it might be in part because the areas are so much... Well, this particular area is much more sort of narrow, straightforward path, so it sort of makes a lot of these things stand out a little bit more, I suppose. Something like that, maybe. I don't even know anymore. And that's definitely another building coming towards us, so I'd better get in the way of that one. And I'm pretty sure at this point I'll have gotten the trophy for, you know, getting that whole 3 Nightmares ends in one shot in a row. Which I'm quite grateful for, but was not grateful for that massive combo of attacks. That was not fun. It's just like, I'm allowed to combo you, you are not allowed to combo me. This is the way the world works, or at least this is the way the world should work. Because whenever it doesn't, I just go, no. Not okay. It's just like shockwaves. It's just like, I should be able to shockwave, the enemy should not be allowed to shockwave because I hate shockwaves. It's the same with healing. It's just like, let me heal, but I don't want my enemy healing because that is not fair. Of course, in reality, it is totally fair, and really, it's like, if it's a decent fight, well, if it's a decently designed fight, then healing enemies is not a terrible thing. The only issue is that most of the time that you end up with healing enemies in any sort of game, the fights aren't designed well enough to make it okay. For example, our basically final boss, but not quite final boss, as with, you know, most Kingdom Hearts games. For example, 358 over 2 days. That's what I was waiting for. Obviously, 358 over 2 days, you have the fight against Xion, which is basically your final boss fight, your multi-tiered fight that's really grand and epic and multi-stage and is amazing. And then you've got the fight against Riku, which is technically your final boss fight, in that it is the final boss of the game, but it's not set up with the same grandiosity as the previous fight. We have another instance of that here, where we have what you would basically say is the final boss fight, and then you have a boss fight after the final boss fight, to round out the story, which, I mean, it's still a really fun fight, don't get me wrong, but that's the thing. But in the final boss fight that really we'll classify as the final boss fight, that has an instance of healing which is not very well balanced. But as I said, we'll go into that when we get to that, and once again, Skeletor Wilds. Just, the sooner I can get away from these guys, the better, because, oh boy, I do not like them. But yes, I'm pretty sure that that is every single treasure chest in Kingdom Hearts HD Dream Drop Distance collected. And of course there is our wonderful trophy in the trophy shelf for getting that treasure seeker. Brilliant! Love it! And I feel very, very accomplished right now. And before we completely finish everything off here, we've got a special portal, and then it is going to be time for so much plot. So we just have these, I believe these are Pegaslicks. Obviously I could be wrong, but I think from the, it's the hair, basically, that I go, these are Pegaslicks. Because I think the Electricorns have much more sort of spiky hair. But also, at this moment in time I was just like, oh god, don't kill me now, I'm right at the end of the room. Don't make me go through all of this again. Yeah, part of me was seriously regretting going into this fight. Once I was in it, I was like, no! Don't make me do all this again. I mean, on the plus side, it would have meant getting through this a lot quicker, which would have, you know, shortened the part length, but it would have been a frustrating thing to actually go and have to do. But I think now that I've gotten rid of most of the halberds and there's just this one remaining Pegaslick, should be pretty okay. And there we go, we're also up to level 42, so did a pretty nice job of keeping Sora and Riku at pretty even levels there throughout the rest of the game. And yeah! All that's really left for me to do is make sure that my setup is exactly what I want it to be. I'm pretty sure that it is. We do have, I believe... Yeah, we do have one final save point and Moogle Shop. So this is basically your point of no return for Sora. And yeah, so make sure you have everything that you want to for what Sora's going to face. And save up and get ready. Because, I mean, I will say this is going to be a pretty epic fight. Definitely easier than Riku's side, but once again, that's the same with practically all of Sora's fights outside of the Wargoyle and the fact that he has the spell it can fight in Traverse Town Trip 2. So, yes, my brain's just going, right, am I ready for this? Please tell me I'm ready for this. Because once we go forward, there is no going back.
Yeah. Riku! Kairi! I found you! Huh? Who?
Ven.
Ven.
Huh? Huh? What is going on?
You've got to wake up. Sora!
Wait! What? Ah!
Whoopsie daisy. Wasn't easy putting you into a second sleep, and he almost woke you up.
So then, all that stuff I just saw, did you put that in my head?
No. That wasn't stuff. It was a dream. The falling asleep part was definitely our bad. But we can't put stuff in your head. Hey, I got an idea. Ask your heart. See if it's got a clue.
Well, my heart was aching. That's why I kept going.
Oh, thank you, Sora's heart, for pushing him right into our clutches. Aren't hearts great? Steer us wrong every time.
You know, right? Because you all have hearts. Axel, and Roxas, and Naminé, and that other girl. I felt what Roxas felt. And they laughed together, got mad, and they grieved. You have to have a heart to cry.
Ha! It's about time you noticed.
Indeed. A heart is never lost for good. There may have been variances in our dispositions, but a number of us unquestionably showed signs of a burgeoning replacement. Once born, the heart can also be nurtured. Our experiments creating Heartless were attempts to control the mind and convince it to renounce its sense of self. But understand, one can banish the heart from the body, but the body will try to replace it the first chance it gets, for as many times as it takes. And so I knew, even after we were divided into Heartless and Nobodies, it was just a temporary separation.
Why then? Why did you lie to them and tell them they had no hearts?
Xemnas and Xehanort formed the organization for a specific reason. Round up a bunch of empty husks, hook them up to Kingdom Hearts, then fill them all with the exact same heart and mind. Translation? They were gonna turn all the members into Xehanort.
Make more Xehanorts? You tricked your friends to... But you... Aren't you scared of just... turning into someone else?
Me? I'm already half Xehanort.
That's nuts!
However, through weakness of body, weakness of will, or weakness of trust, most of the original members we had chosen for the organization were inadequate. Thus, naturally, they never had a chance to attain their goal. Yet, even this was to be expected. We have learned of the heart's folly, and we have achieved our other goals. This last excursion has proven to be a worthy closing assignment for the organization.
Just stop it! You treat people's hearts like bottles on a shelf, but they're not! Hearts are made of the people we meet, and how we feel about them. They're what ties us together even when we're apart. They're what make me strong.
Duh. You're strong because of the ties you have with other people. As if the Keyblade would choose a wimp like you. But no pouting. We see much bigger and better things in your future once you side with us.
I know the Keyblade didn't choose me, and I don't care. I'm proud to be a small part of something bigger. The people it did choose. My friends. They are my power!
Those are just words. You've lost. Fine. See where your power gets you here. Xemnas! He's all yours!
And here we go. It is time to take on Xemnas himself to the rather quite spectacular L'Oscurità dell'Ignoto, which is Darkness of the Unknown, which is quite great. As I said, there's loads of really amazing final boss themes throughout this game. It's great. And honestly, this fight is also quite fun. There's buildings being flung at you. There's just all sorts of chaos, and it's great fun. It's also definitely a lot fairer than Riku's fight against Dance of Secret of Darkness. Annoyingly, there is only one phase to this, which is a bit infuriating, but hey, these things happen. Now, obviously, we had a lot of plot going on in that previous cutscene there. We had the revelation that the organisation did actually have hearts, that nobody developed hearts. Hilariously, the manga adaptation of Kingdom Hearts actually sort of revealed that before any of us had actually figured that one out. Because obviously it was a side material, even though it was retelling the story of the games, it was all just like, yeah, no, that's their interpretation of the event. No, that was actually reality. So obviously you had that whole thing. You had the real purpose of the organisation was to turn all the members into Xehanauts, so 13 Xehanauts, at which point I think everyone was just like, I'm sorry, what the hell is going on? 13 Xehanauts, you absolute madman. But then also, honestly, I'm totally down with it. It's just the type of completely ludicrous thing I have come to expect and love from Kingdom Hearts. It may not make the most sense in the world, but it is perfectly in keeping with the rest of the franchise. And I am just super excited to see where it's going to take us come Kingdom Hearts 3, which, as of the point of this video, is not very far away at all. Also, I'm honestly not quite sure what I'm supposed to do to dodge those, but it doesn't really matter, because they don't really cause enough damage to be all that terrifying, so I can live with that. Also, getting a reality shift in there as part of a kind of quick time eventy cutscene. Totally down, and this ain't going to end well, is it? Oh, thank God for that. Otherwise that would have been really embarrassing. And this is quite nice. It's a little break point in the middle of the fight, so you can just sort of heal up, and then you get some really quite awesome time to get the damage in on Xemnas before he flips back into the regular fight. So yeah, honestly, this is one of my favourite fights of the end of the game, because it's just the right level of frantic for me. It also helps, I think, that because of having your Dream Eaters at your side and how Sora's links work, it's also a much easier time because you can make use of those link attacks if you want to, and you aren't going to end up completely regretting it, because obviously you're invulnerable whilst you use those. So it's definitely a worthwhile tactic, whereas every time that you're with Riku, it's not much of a tactic that will help you out. Which sucks, but there we go. Now the question is, am I going to use any link attacks before this fight is over, or am I just going to manage to achieve this without their help? To be honest, it's looking very much like that is the case. And oh god, it's cutting it a wee bit fine there. Still cutting it a wee bit fine. Just got one hit. And there it is, thank the Lord. I had a moment there, I was just going, oh god, just get the hit in there, it'll be fine, it'll be fine. And it was. So, there we go, Xemnas has been defeated. All that's left is to see exactly what's going to happen now. I don't think this is quite going to end how you imagined it.
You... again.
You just make it too easy. I know you think you've won, but you lost the moment you dived this far in. You're in the deepest pit of slumber. and you've worn yourself down to nothing. There's no returning to the world above.
What do you mean?
We told you. It was not the sleeping keyholes that guided you. They are not the reason you are here. You've been on a path, one we laid out for you. That sigil on your chest is the proof.
What?
See, that sigil, the X. It tells us where you are at all times. You had wondered aloud before why we kept showing up where you were. It's because we need you, Sora. Or, to be more precise, we need what will be left of you. The 13th Dark Vessel.
Why,
Why was it assured you would come here today? Because I followed my destined path, and I'm here looking at you right now. You can move through time, but time itself is immovable. Today, all of my selves throughout time were meant to gather here, and to welcome you, Sora, as our 13th member. These facts cannot be changed.
what's gonna happen?
I have now told you all that I know. We are all here, and what the future holds in store is beyond my sight. I will return to my own time and grow into the man who becomes all these others. While I know this future now that I have lived it, returning to my own time will erase the memories and experiences I have gained here. Still, my appointed path is now etched in my heart, which will first lead me to seek the outside world.
Riku.
Your heart will sleep forever in the folds of darkness, and your body will be another vessel for me. So light gives way to darkness. Good night, Sora.